Let's record this. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are going live on a Wednesday. It is the 19th. I am back from vacation in which I had a good time away from the computer. Sending my buddy a giant thumbs up and going to get to drawing. What did we learn on vacation? Well, I still contend that social media is a giant mosh pit. Facebook has the potential to be great, but isn't friendly for the last 5 years. Instagram's taken over as the friendly sharing pictures medium, and Facebook seems to be like, let's all vent about our politics kind of business. So I'm going live on Facebook to do something that isn't as political. We're just going to be drawing something. Yeah. So what I had an idea about was I've always wanted some kind of blimp in my life, some kind of airship type contraption that would have a large lifting body of sorts, and then this little gondola kind of room, and it would have a ladder, and it could like anchor, depending on where where the land was. We'd have a little tree, and maybe a tree house is where Tom lives when he's on the ground. That'd be fun. And then when he's in the sky, he's got his little captain's chair with a wheel, and then there's a captain, yeah, chair right there, and there'd be some kind of bunk, and then underneath the bunk might be a little computer station. So that's inspired by my buddy Jay's arrangement in college. And in the back would be like a bicycle or a motorcycle, like a thing on a crane. And the back of that can be lifted up and down. So I would typically take a ladder up and down. And the reason it's off the ground is because safety. I don't know. And of course, it would have wheels. And then we have to have some kind of engine power plant thing. It would have an autopilot. I could fly around and cruise comfortably without too much turbulence because I'm going kind of slow and I could see the whole world. This is a fantasy, just for fun. Maybe there's some kind of wing shape back here. Maybe there's some kind of nose plane up in the front. That'd be cool. And then it's just giant internal volumes of helium and other buoyant gases of types, something like that. That might be fun. Might be fun. So, what was I actually thinking about most recently? So this is like an old idea that I would like to render someday. Maybe do like a cutaway drawing. Thinking about that. We'll call this layer Airship Tom. And let's create another layer, which is what I was thinking about. Is like, what about the future of aviation? I've seen a lot of Boeing concepts of a streamlined, large-scale, either cargo or personal carrier of some kind. So like Boeing concept plane. Let's go Google search that. Cool. We're getting some neat stuff. This is something I wanted to do when I was a little kid. I wanted to design aircraft. These are kind of neat transonic wing designs. Those are cool when you have a bottom wing and a top wing. So this is really what I was thinking about. I was thinking about this long, elongated flying wing-shaped body with the engines on top. What do the engines on top do? Well, I would assume two things. It pulls more air over the top, creating more lift over the top of the wing, and also it makes it less likely to drag the engine pods on the ground when you land. Apparently I wasn't live this whole time, so we're going to hit the go live button, and that's fine because my voice is warmed up a little bit. We're going to do an intro. We're going to do another intro. This is Tom going live on Facebook now. This video will also probably be on YouTube later if it's good and I don't shoot myself in the foot while talking. We got some ideas for airships. I want to do some kind of sketch of an idea I might have. I'm based on some Boeing concept designs. Airbus has a radical flying wing design. That's kind of neat with the engines tucked into the center line of the aircraft with big vertical wings. That's pretty cool. But mostly, this was an ugly shape to me 10 years ago when I first saw it. The flying lifting body with wings. Now, I was always excited about lifting bodies in general since I saw the NASA stuff. Luke's here, and we're talking about planes today. Luke, maybe you can chime in and give us some Bernoulli principles, some instrument night flying kind of information. Good to see Luke here. Yes, I was having a nice dinner with my buddy Danny in Stamford, Connecticut last night, and he loves the science fiction stuff. And we used to talk about space, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that type of stuff back when we were little kids. So I wanted to do some concept drawing today. The X-48B, flying wing kind of design. I'm also thinking about Homeworld Deserts of Care. Let me save this image. Let me put this image over here. I can't open that. Well, why don't you let me? Let's just put that there for now. And let's do Deserts of Karak. Was a video game made by the same guys who did Homeworld. And they did a really good job. This is so cool. They have this giant, this is some stream video. There is this giant flying wing cargo plane. It looks enormous. And I think it's so cool. So the mission is to secure an airfield for these airplanes to come in and resupply your group. Let's skip ahead. I want the cutscene. All right, so it looks like the end. Oh my goodness, commercials. Move out of the way. Luke, how are you doing today? If you can type or chat, let me know what's up. Have you been flying lately, my friend? I was having cocktails with a pilot a week ago in Wisconsin. A friend of a friend of a friend, talking about flying for funsies. Here comes the airplanes. These are the big cargo planes coming in. Look how huge they are. So what gives them a sense of scale? Little windows and lights and doors. Kind of recognizable. Oh no, this thing got blown up. But look at this giant, beautiful wing. It looks kind of like a kite. It looks like some kind of bottom wing and a top wing. A biplane kind of effect. Would that really work? I don't know. It's kind of a neat idea though. It looks cool. Looks kind of like a Star Warsy type plane. Those droid drop ships from the Trade Federation. Dude, that would suck. Plane that big crashing. This thing's just like, I'm gonna slide out. So I was watching this. I was like, look how dangerous to have this giant freaking aircraft. What are some principles that would actually work if we had giant flying wings in real life? Because there's been many flying wing designs in the real world. B-2 stealth bomber being one of the most popular ones. But they've been around a long time. I think even back into the 30s and 40s, you had prototype versions with propellers on them. Northrop XB-35 Flying Wing. How cool is that, huh? I think that's what the imaginary like Hitler Nazi plane and Raiders of the Lost Ark had. I think it was pretty cool. Here's a lightweight version. These are pretty cool. Flying wing designs, all really neat. I love the idea of it. It's so strange. It's unique. Here's some kit build thing. So it's like, what if we could have an airliner, like a luxurious? Well, here's a German flying wing. This is like an interceptor. That's pretty cool. A couple jet engines, flying wing. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. What's this? This is some kit plane. I would not fly in that thing. Look scary as heck. This guy's got a center. So I also know if you want super efficiency, you get one real big engine. In nautical terms, you get these mega cruise ships or mega transport, like hauler cargo ships, and they'll have like one giant engine in the back. So I wanted to combine a bunch of ideas together, being this supersized ship that had a flying wing, one engine, one massive engine in the back, and then compartments for people, and it also has to have the ability to land at really low speed. What if we could reinvent aircraft infrastructure completely, and instead of having a skinny plane, let's say this is the top view, like a 737, just for instance, I don't know, something like this, and it's got its engine pods out in front, and it lands on a runway that's like about as long as it, sorry, as wide as it, but like 20 times longer than the thing itself. What if you could have a runway that uses the same square footage, but it's like a big square runway? So you have a giant flying wing ship, and it lands much, much slower. So if the crash happens, it's less likely to like kill everything. Like, what if we could just have a plane that creates so much lift that it just kind of barely settles into the ground? Some kind of tilt, not like a tilt rotor, but that almost looks like that because it just creates just an unbelievable amount of lift. I'm thinking about Cessnas, a little aircraft, fixed-wing aircraft that can fly barely the speed of the wind and still stay afloat. But you can soar high enough, kind of like a U-2 spy plane with its twin engines and long body, and it flies at 80,000 feet at 560 miles per hour or something like that. U-2 is way, 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 way up there. What if we could do that with commercial aviation? So you have to have a pressure hull and some kind of lifting body that channels a lot of air into a giant turbine, like a 20-foot inlet, and then maybe some smaller engines just to like help. So something this big would have to get into the air, to accelerate would be very difficult. So it's going to have some kind of catapult like truck system, maybe like some coordinated vehicles on the ground that have like jet propulsion that tow this thing into some kind of launch speed, and it pulls it from anchor points in front of the wing. That'd be kind of cool. What's up, Brandon? We were just talking. Thought of you, like, hey, Brandon probably wants to see some drawing videos. So we're drawing this idea I had over the week I was on vacation. So I'm imagining some kind of, this is just a loose brainstorming sketch for what this thing could be. Maybe it's got, okay, let's do profile. You have the big inlet, giant jet engine. Probably the vortice fins would come way behind. And then their silhouette would be something like a wing entirely. And then maybe you have dual cockpits, huh? You got two cockpits, kind of like eyeballs on a manta ray. And then you have just a massive amount of cargo space in the middle. And then you have people like on two sides. You probably have hundreds of seats. There's a whole bank of seats here, a whole bank of seats here, and it would be like doubles and triples and doubles, something like that, and then cargo in the middle, luggage, all that kind of stuff, and then just fuel for days. And this kind of, imagine this kind of airplane to be like a cruise liner that could fly over the whole Earth. Or maybe these things just fly around constantly, refuel each other, and you take little shuttles that kind of take off from a local airport and then come up and connect with the mothership that's just flying orbits around the Earth. And you just take a little dinghy up, meet up with the mothership, and then something like that. That'd be kind of cool. And it's just a cruise thing. There's these big ships just constantly flying around the Earth, super efficient because they got the big ass engine in the back. And that'd be kind of neat. Maybe there's like a couple versions of this. So let's do a scene with this aircraft kind of platform being demonstrated. Would that be fun? That'd be kind of cool. A little concept art of what the future might look like. So how do we do that? Let's create our layer. Let's increase the scale a little bit. Image size. Just go canvas size. Canvas size width. Let's pump it up to 40. It's 40 wide. Cool. Let's bring it up a little bit lighter. Something like that. It's kind of cool. We're in Photoshop. We got a Cintiq. Voice is a little gravelly. That's the idea for what our plane looks like. And then let's get some quick brainstorming of what this whole scene could look like. Let's just do some big colors. Big, big, big colors. Brandon, how are you doing, my man? Let's get some kind of sky-looking stuff. And then we're going to have our runway, tarmac down here. Let's get some vegetation on the left just to frame it. Maybe there's some kind of white airfield thing over here. Tower, you know, hangars, something. And then up, really, we're going to blend it into a little darker sky a little bit. Cool. Let's go a little bigger with the fan brush. A little bigger. Cool, cool. All right, we got our scene. And then what do we want to do in the foreground? I want to have some big, I want this big ship looking really impressive. So it's going to be, maybe it's just like just in the process of taking off. And there's the tow. Is towing smart? Because it gets twisted. Some kind of lock step, like machine that's on the ground that can accelerate it with some like jet engines or pneumatic something. And it's just got these cables. They're tied to each other. These two giant machines, and they got like lots of really big wide wheels, so it can go really fast. Something I'm not really sure exactly. And then the silhouette of the Colossus, I think that's what we'll call it. Just this giant wing. And then we just see the little bit of the engine up there, top. Will this be reflective maybe of that background? Just get a little bit of bounce light on that side. Maybe a little bit of bounce green on this side here. I don't know where this is going to go. We're just going to play with it a little bit and see if it's going to be cool or not. And then there's like some kind of little cockpit area there. There's like the people's galley with the gallery where they can look through and see the front of the plane. That'd be cool too. Whenever I've been on an aircraft, I've always wanted to be able to see forward and see where we're going. And you don't get to do that unless you're the pilot or crew. I think cruise ships you get to see where you're going, I think. And then way, way high up, it's going to be another one. Just like dancing way, 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 way high. And it's going to have like its contrail. One's even higher. Something like that. Very bird-like. Is this cool? What do we think about this? Is this fun? Gonna have a big belly on the plane. Let's clean that light up. It's definitely got to have wheels. It probably would have wheels on the outside. Why not? Some wheels in there. Probably 2 racks of wheels in the front. So track of wheels there. Track of wheels there. Track of wheels there. Track of wheels on this side. We got so much space. We can have tons and tons of landing gear options on this airplane thing. Is it interesting? It looks a little strange. It actually, like, the composition makes it look like the plane's going to the left. It's like this direction. So maybe we'll do something else. Let's try a different composition completely. Because this one isn't quite feeling as exciting and dramatic as I'd like. Let's try something. Well, maybe we can just edit this one a little bit. What if we just took what if we just crop the top off? Let's copy this. Just bring it up a bit. Would that be more interesting? What if it's looking down on the ground a little bit? What if we're getting some kind of, like the plane is just above our eye line and the ground is right below, so we can see a little better what's going on in context. So maybe the airfield is kind of below us, below the horizon line. We got some hangars. We got some lighter type runway land. Is this cool? I don't know. Let's just keep working it out. And so the vehicles are down below, and they just pulled this thing up. So we're seeing the aftermath of the launch, maybe. Maybe this is getting a little darker in the distance. That direction. Is that cool? I don't know. So maybe there's some grassy fields. A little curvature of the earth. There's some kind of city in the background. Way back over here is like Chicago. It's towers and it's huge skyline. That'd be fun. It's kind of cool. Grass field. Oh, the COVID. No, I don't have COVID. I just had an allergy. Let's go. Let's go. Watching some John Boy Media with my buddy James. Shout out to John Boy. I don't know who he is, but I love the video. I don't know him personally. I just think he's hilarious. Breakdowns of baseball fights. They're so ironic because the fights are usually really bad. And he makes them sound super intense, but kind of in a sarcastic way. His delivery is just perfect. John Boy Media, so good. Boo, boo, boo. If you're watching, chime in and say what up. See, Mookie said hi. Brandon said hi. Luke said hi. Pretty cool. Glad y'all out there. Glad y'all out there hanging out. We have 4 watchers right now. What do you know? Pretty cool. So airplane. Maybe we'll have some. Let's redraw the high altitude ones. Maybe they're over here. They're already flying up. Maybe there's some like smaller jets in the air too. I can imagine some kind of lifting body aircraft that would service these planes in midair. So on the runway, maybe there's that. Maybe there's another one waiting to launch. That'd be kind of cool. So there's some kind of side runway here. And that goes like a line there, Oop, no line going. Oops. What is that? What did I just do? Some kind of center line here. Line there, getting the perspective. Another one of these like super heavy aircraft is rolling down the taxiway. Colossus. New York to Tokyo in 15 hours. Luxury aviation cruise. That's what I want. I want space to get up to walk around, maybe an in-flight mall, and the only thing with enough space to do that is going to be a giant flying wing. That's what I'm thinking is the future. An enormous carbon fiber giant wing. How big are you saying, Tom? We need a framework of reference. I'm thinking it is over 500 meters in wingspan. 500 meters. Whoa, Tom. You can't build anything that big. Not yet. Someday, though. Someday. You can get some like spoiled, some extra flappy kind of things. Little control surfaces. Control surfaces are always cool. And then we got some kind of wingtip, support gear just to help it in case the wind shear pushes the wing down a little bit. Now, how would you fly such a big plane? Let me tell you, very carefully. Very carefully. So it would need some kind of linked carriage launching system that had the majority of the engine power So these are like be jet powered land vehicles that can go like 100, like lifting weight for this might be only 100 miles per hour to take off, and then it just climbs like a monster, like a rocket ship, until it gets to some thin atmosphere, and then it can accelerate. I'm thinking like U-2 spy plane flight pattern. Let's see what the camera does. So if we got our wing shape, it should like cut a little paper. Wouldn't that be cool if I could just make a little model of what I'm thinking? Let's get a little paper out here. So this is our flying wing, and the flight pattern, it would have a very short runway, and then it would just start to gain lift really, really quick, and then take off very vertical and climb within like 5 minutes to 80,000 feet. It would have to have a completely pressurized cabin, and then up there it would just cruise in the thin air at like 0.95 Mach, just subsonic, just barely subsonic. So you have to have a pressurized cabin. You got one giant turbine. Maybe some backup electric system. That'd be kind of cool. You got the whole thing covered in solar panels. If you got 500 meters by 100 meters of real estate, you can cover the whole thing with panels. You can operate all kinds of stuff. Maybe it's got a newsroom on board. Maybe it's got a little cafeteria with some cooks, and you can get a meal, get 2, get 3 meals, get breakfast, lunch, dinner, cocktail lounge. You know, the whole thing. A flying cruise ship. That's what I'm thinking about. Flying cruise ship. That's what I want. Because I don't want to be on a cruise ship for like 6 days. I don't want to be at sea rocking up and down. I want like 24 hours tops. In and out, experience the water, get some air, and then whatever. And then, of course, there have to be some kind of sky lounge, like in the middle of the plane where you can look up at outer space. Because at 80,000 feet, there's the blackness of space. Nighttime, the star views would be incredible. So I think this thing must be called the Star Colossus. I don't even know how to spell Colossus. I went to art school, not spelling school. Colossus. 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 Star Colossus. That's the name of the ship. That's what I'm thinking about. Something really big. So I think we need more engines on this ground aircraft. Ground aircraft's got like 8 ground support vehicle. It's got like a chassis that holds the base of the plane. It's got 8 jet engines on it. This thing's just for accelerating and decelerating the aircraft. Get it up to speed, get it down to speed. So this thing will be able to land on its own. It'll be kind of a glide, slope, soft landing. But it takes off with the assistance of some catapult vehicle assembly type thing. And then that would be able to be maintained more often. And you would have to do less maintenance. Just the landing, really, for the landing gear. The U-2 spy plane takes off with some landing, like these support wheels that hold the wings up at the tips, and then they fall down when the plane takes off, and it lands on a bicycle type wheel system and eventually drags one of the wingtips. We wouldn't want this thing to drag a wingtip because it's a passenger plane. So this is kind of fun. Star Colossus. Let's save this file. Let's go to projects. New Star Colossus. Let's go on sketch one. Feel free, if you're watching, chime in, say what up. Say howdly doodly, yo. Okay, Star Colossus there. Let's brainstorm a little bit more what this thing looks like. This is the iterative process, you know, having an idea, making a quick rendering, and then let's refine the idea a little bit. Let's go a little bit bigger. This is the kind of stuff I loved to do when I was a little kid. Imagine what would the future look like. What would the future? So we have the center line. Let's go to the front. Let's go to the wing. Is this big enough? Is this going to be enough space? Move, maybe something like that. Winglet, back to the front. It's looking like a kite right now. You have some loose. Maybe we exaggerate the bow just a little bit. A little more bow space. We have a lifting body, and then it funnels the lift into a central massive turbine. One gigantic turbine. And not just a pure delta, I think we have to have it be a swooped delta. Going real manta ray with this thing. It would look natural flying overhead. It wouldn't be scary, it would be natural. Move it up a little bit more, give us a little bit more space for the foreshortening of the wing closer to us. How does this feel? Let's go back to a smaller pen. Increasing the size of our eraser. Let's get the silhouette. Be something interesting. These would the wing tips have to be big? Maybe, because they're also the stabilizer, vortice stabilizers, and maybe also a control surface of some kind. Imagine in the future you could have a composite material that actually can bend and flex. So maybe you'll have some internal gear works and piston hydraulic systems that actually can flex the entire surface of the wing. You probably could call it a starship because at the altitudes at which it flies, you would be able to see the stars pretty well. So what would we have? I think you would need some kind of observation area. At the tip of the wing, there would be some kind of star room, star lounge, and then this would be like a bar, like a dark, I don't know, observation area in the middle. That would be its own level. You would have some kind of. Would you sleep on the? Would you want to sleep on the top? There would have to be beds. There would have to be some place to sleep. So you'd have the forward seats. You probably have gaps. So you want some strength, some complex. The problem with transparent stuff is it's really heavy. For you'd be able to see through something that's strong, it has to be thick. So you probably don't want too many windows, actually. It might just be like a few ports. We have a dual cockpit along either channel of the intake. That is pretty cool. Very much manta shaped here. Now, can this thing connect with or mate with other aircraft? Could there be a shuttle program that takes in mid-flight? You have some kind of interceptor that can come up, bring more crafts, whatever, to it. That could be cool. Where would that dock? Where's the stable part? Probably an underwing, just like a weapon port in a fighter of some kind. You would have to have some like a dockable transport carrier with like a whole compartment that could just elevate and dock and then be pulled internally. So maybe it's like a bomb bay, but actually cargo bay. And you could have a little transport shuttlecraft mate with. It's got some kind of crane. I'm thinking about like mothership, baby ship type thing, like Indiana Jones, Last Crusade. They have a blimp, a Zeppelin with a biplane. It has this hook that swings it out. to the bottom. I think you would have to have something like that. So we would call that the shuttle. Shuttle would be good for emergencies if there's some kind of accident on board this huge high altitude liner. Got to get the patient down. And there's the idea of life rafts. Like if you have a plane that's flying constantly at high altitude, how do you get people down? You have to maybe use a bunch of shuttles. Does everyone get parachutes? Everyone gets little pods? What do you do? Because there's no life raft in an airplane. Like if an aircraft, well, I guess the aircraft makes a landing. This is really what happens. So, like if there's an emergency landing required in modern commercial aircraft, there's a lot of runways. I guess they're designed to glide pretty far. Maybe that's just a risk you take for the speed. Something like that. Makes sense. Maybe there's like another structure returning. Some kind of flying tail, maybe? We're not trying to be stealthy, we're just trying to be efficient. We're going to be super, super efficient. So every vertical surface actually creates drag, so we don't want too much of it. You probably could just do just like several little tips that can give you enough surface returning. That's probably all you need. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little bit of thrust vectoring is possible with the engine. Maybe the outlet can like pivot just a little bit. There's a giant apparatus, like a rudder, built into the turbine itself that can twist. The idea I had is, like, what if maybe it's two channels? Like there's the main turbine, there's a double channel structure. So you have the top of the wing, bottom, the lifting body, and then there's the massive turbine, and then there's cockpit 1, cockpit 2, surface, 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 something like that. It would be the cross section, and then you have shuttle 1, shuttle 2. So it has some kind of crane structure. Let's say this is like a hard point for where that shuttle comes from. It would have to be very flexible. And it also has to clear high enough so it can drop the shuttle when it's on the ground, right? So the shuttle will have to be able to be dropped this way, landing gear there, landing gear there, something like that. A little extra gear that pops out just in case emergencies. Gigantic turbine in the middle. Huge. Why big? Bigger is more efficient, typically. A tri-hull kind of thing, maybe. Yeah, that's just what I'm thinking about today, ladies and gentlemen. Just coming up with an idea for an airplane. This would be fun. Maybe 3D model it someday. Maybe do an animation of the shuttlecraft docking with the Star Colossus. Let's see. Let's label some stuff. giant turbine. Let's do a vortex stabilizer. Got wing, rudder. Rudders, we got forward, observer, portal. What else we got here? We got the Sky Lounge, Star Lounge. Get some sky viewing. We got like first class. Maybe like coach. And you'd have to have some kind of corridor going back between both sides. And I would probably put the cafeteria like under the engine area, because and then you could have like windows. You'd have like panels or windows, not really sure. Solar backup. It would probably make sense to only land this thing in daylight. Like maybe they'd have to schedule where these things only land during the day, so in case there's like a loss of turbine power, they can use solar energy to actuate the flight control surfaces in some kind of eventuality. Backup solar, and then you have, you just have be a field of solar panels on top of the wing surface here. And then in the middle would be cafeteria. And then dual cockpits. Some kind of central corridor. There'd be some kind of berthing. I haven't thought about what the berthing situation would look like. But certainly you got a first class, and then you have the coach class. Everything else, you need a coach class ticket. Let's say you want to go 16-hour cruise to Tokyo from Los Angeles. Actually, that'd be a lot cheaper. It'd probably be like an 8-hour cruise, and you get maybe $1,500. And then you get to sleep. You got a bed. Maybe your chair goes back. You got plenty of space. Maybe you buy like a room, and it's like you and 4 people can like sit in a room together. Maybe that's first class. What would first class have? Oh, all the cocktails, all the drinks, all the drinks. So I'm thinking about it. This is kind of fun today. We'll call it there. It was kind of cool. Maybe this is what the future looks like. Will be hopefully a star colossus will be coming close to where you live by the end of the 21st century. Thanks all for checking in. This was fun, short little 40-minute video. It's been a good week off away from computers and Twitter and all that nonsense. And be good to each other. The weather's great. Weather's great out there, Brandon. Hope to see you soon, Mr. Breadman. And Luke, I miss you. I thought about Memphis and those wonderful barbecue ribs that we had. Take care, my man. Take care, guys.